Welcome to another episode of the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center's Leadership Log. I'm Lieutenant Abby Duncan, and I'm here today with Colonel Chadwick Steipp. A few weeks ago, Colonel Steipp joined the center as Deputy Commander. He commissioned in 2001, and over his career he has served in several roles across the Air Force Materiel Command, and is an engineer by academic training. Before becoming Deputy Commander, Colonel Steipp served as Deputy PEO for our Mobility Directorate. Colonel Steipp, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Lieutenant Duncan.
I have a few questions so our airmen across the center can get to know you better. First, can you explain your main priorities for your first few months as Deputy Commander?
Yeah, thanks for that question. My first priority really is to, in conjunction with our commander, Lieutenant General Shipton, to be able to make sure that all of our team has everything that they need to be able to execute the mission of the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. We're going through a period of change right now, and it does mean that we're executing our mission with fewer personnel than we have in the past, but it's an opportunity for change, and so that's my number one priority in support of the commander. My second priority is to make sure that we're choosing our next group of 06 senior leadership. That's a process that we go through every summer, and so here in the coming weeks and months, we'll make that selection for in conjunction with Air Force Materiel Command, and then hopefully put that in place for next summer. And then the third priority that I have is really working in conjunction with Chief Master Sergeant Weezer, is to ensure for all of our airmen, both uniform and civilian, that they are on a path to maximize their own personal and professional readiness as we look ahead to the future.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Next, how can center airmen, uniformed and civilian, support these priorities?
And the first priority regarding the execution of the mission is they can come to work every day with that strategic vision of what is important to our operational warfighters, and really have that mindset that everything that they do contributes to that, because it does. Everything that they do on a daily basis contributes to the mission of providing war-winning capabilities to our operational warfighters. So I think that's the first thing that people can do. Really, for the last priority that I mentioned in terms of personal and professional readiness, training, right? Any training opportunities that both uniformed and civilian airmen can undertake obviously contributes to their readiness, which we encourage. And then the second thing is, depending on whether you're uniformed or civilian, physical fitness is another part of readiness that we want to make sure people are taking the time. And it's not just physical fitness from the standpoint of traditional military fitness, but also ensuring that all of us are as healthy as possible so that we can contribute to the mission.
For young officers like me, can you give an example of a professional setback that taught you something valuable?
I think, as I think back through my career, as I was younger, I looked at all the opportunities that the Air Force has, and it's unbelievable in comparison to maybe some of your private sector friends or counterparts. The number of opportunities that we have, especially as Air Force officers or Air Force uniformed members, is really pretty incredible. I applied for some programs when I was more junior, and I was not accepted for those programs. And although it may have felt like a setback at the time, it seemed like every time that happened, that persistence paid off in terms of future opportunities. And so what I would just say is be persistent, right? If you have a goal, if you want to go to test pilot school, right? If you want to get a graduate degree, right? There are things that you can do to put yourself in place to achieve those, and just be persistent, right? If you don't immediately succeed, try again.
Is there a certain opportunity you undertook that you think was really important for your career progression?
Early on, I had an opportunity that at the time was more of like a voluntary deployment opportunity, and so making the conscious decision to undertake that, I think, was a career-affirming difference, and it definitely put me on a path that I may not have been on had I not taken that opportunity. So yeah, so I think, for anyone out there, considering opportunities like that to include deployments, including voluntary deployment opportunities, I think those are something that always should be considered.
Thank you for your insight, sir. What do you value most in workplace culture?
I think the biggest thing that I value is a positive attitude. I think that a lot can be overcome if we have a positive attitude about the work that we're doing, about the people that we're working around. Negative attitudes can sometimes negatively affect the overall team in a way that maybe isn't beneficial. But positive attitudes, in my opinion, are really those things that, because there's hard problems, and in many cases you could think this is impossible to solve. But with a positive attitude, I think what we realize is that in most cases we can solve those problems. We just have to have the mindset that allows us to do it.
And to get to know you more on a personal level, we have some fun questions.
Okay.
If you had to swap places with a civilian job for a week, what would you choose, and would you survive it?
Wow. So there's lots of jobs that I could think of, which I think are hugely beneficial across the board. But if I had to choose just one that I would like to try to do, I really enjoy outdoor adventure and businesses that produce products for outdoor adventure. So, if it was in a leadership role within, a company like that, I think it would be very neat. For a long time, I also thought like being a product tester for outdoor adventure would be awesome. I think I could do that for sure. Running the business, I'm sure there'd be things I'd have to learn, but my hope would be that I could do it.
Interesting. So. Do you have a favorite place you've visited?
Certainly I've spent some time in Colorado, and been some, some other mountainous areas. We enjoy that, right? My family and I, getting out to the mountains, hiking and other activities.
Hiking.
So, yeah.
What is your favorite Air Force tradition?
Air Force traditions. There's a few maybe that stand out in my mind. I do think overall, I think the salute, the salutation is, one of my favorites, right? No matter where you go, it's one that is just completely universal across all of the Department of Defense here in stateside, right? Anywhere you go, you're going to be in a situation where the salute is ingrained in tradition. So I think that's pretty neat. A couple of other traditions that stand out over time, or that maybe are not less well known, but ones of interest, right, is that when you're standing with someone or walking with someone of greater rank, right, to stand back into their left. And my understanding is the tradition comes from, if that senior leader officer has a saber, right? If they salute with that saber, they would hit someone that was standing off to their right.
Interesting.
So to stand to the slightly back and to the left is the appropriate place to stay, so don't get hit by any sabers.
Interesting. I was not aware of the saber tradition, so that's interesting. Colonel Steipp, thank you so much for your time, and we are excited to have you at the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center.
Thanks, Lieutenant Duncan. Appreciate it.